We've always had tons and tons and tons of data, and in the hands of a very powerful engineer, it's very powerful. Like now with AI, we've been able to train these models on this data, and it's really democratizing the access to the data. So being able to respond to queries to customers, like the experience management office or things like that, very easily to get data out without having to SQL or the other thing is creating a plugin for the service desk so that the service desk is able to auto-diagnose issues. So basically moving from let me look at a series of data to like tell me what the problem, and very quickly lower MTTR and things like that, making level ones more effective. And then we extend that to end users. So end users consult. So we're ticket deflection, finally getting to this shift left thing that we've all been talking about forever. The final thing, which I'm really excited to be working with you guys, is what I'm kind of terming as headless DEX. So we're basically supplying MCP services and EQA services into your platform where you're providing that front end to the customer, being able to answer just more than IT support questions, which is what we're going to be the expert in, but also, procurement questions, the HR question. I mean, all sorts of different.
World's your oyster once you've got that platform in place.
Yeah.
Exactly. And for us, it's really exciting because we're moving from an era of workplace platform management to really orchestrating the employee experience.
Yep.
And that starts with the IT experience and everything we're doing together. Bringing AI into that equation as well is enabling us to be so much more proactive. We've always talked about it, but to be able to take that data and present it to an agent, to an engineer, to an end user when they need it at that point of need, when things are really not good, it's going to transform the way we deliver those services. And then consequently, the commitments we're taking on the outcomes, because customers are coming to us and they expect that experience level agreement to be hard and fast, with a baseline at the beginning and continuous evolution over the relationship we have with our customers. So for me, that data that you guys have got, the ability to unlock it in new ways, I think is really, really exciting. So I think there's some really key trends right now that is shaping how we think about employee experience at Capgemini. Moving from workplace transformation and workplace management to employee management, employee orchestration and enablement is really where our focus is at. And having that data and then AI to unlock the data, I think is really the key trend that we see emerging really, really fast. Starting the service desk and that support experience, which was always designed for IT and not the employee. And for years, we've been moving slowly towards that evolved model where it's about enabling employees. And I think the components that we have in place today is really now coming together in a way that makes that happen. Everyone's got an ITSM platform. Lots of organizations have got a DEX tool now. But are they gluing it together with their Microsoft environment, with their business applications to bring it into a single solution? And I think the work you've done, what you're releasing now around AI enablement of that data and that democratizing, as you said, is really, really exciting because I think it will accelerate how we transform the service, and that commitment that I talked about earlier that we deliver to customers will become much stronger in the future.
I agree with you 1,000%. I think when we talk to our customers, they really want that integrated experience, not just IT support. That's what they want to integrate with all the sort of employee experience. And we're seeing the desire to improve that, but also at the same point, lowering costs. So injecting agentic AI, now less costs in service tasks, less escalation from level 1 to level 3, shift left, as we just talked about, to level. So you're actually delivering a higher service at a lower cost. And I think that's really exciting. And I think that's kind of a trend. So with the latest introductions of SysTrack AI, we're basically bringing 3 different sort of pillars to market. One of them is SysTrack AI for IT engineers. So this is the ability to create dashboards on the fly, answer questions, and sort of kind of like really supporting that DEX engineer, right? That's trying to deliver outcomes, trying to improve the proactive user experience. In addition, we're introducing a tool for the level 1 service desk agents. It's a plugin that can literally integrate with any ITSM, pulls it on the client side. So it doesn't require customers to go into ServiceNow and install a ServiceNow app, which we got a lot of feedback from your team and others that while that's a really desirable state, the ServiceNow team is typically pretty backlogged. And getting them to update that is not an easy task. So with this, you can literally turn it on and create value, like hey, that. So really focused on time to value, like immediate time to value, you start out at service desk. The SysTrack for end users, which is a team space plugin, it'll also be available in Slack soon. So really meeting the user where they are. And then the third pillar of things that we're introducing is around SysTrack AI for apps, which is really, I think, where we end up in the long. I mean, we built, I think, good release, and we the workflows, but we know that we're going to operate in the context of a larger ecosystem. So what we want to be is the expert in IT support and IT issues, leveraging what we think is the best data in market by some margin. That I think is what I'm really excited about. You guys are the initial pilot on that we're rolling out. We'll work with your teams on that. And CP services plugged into your framework.
And for us, it hits all the right points that we start our whole support journey thinking about unified knowledge, unified data, because whether it is an engineer, the end user in struggle, or one of the kind of service desk agents, having that core knowledge, that core insight available and then applied in a way that they can consume it and action it quickly is so important for us. And it's very, very different. So the segmentation and the approach, I think, is absolutely spot on from my point of view. And we've been trying to do the same, that whether it's the end user when they're having a conversation, it needs to be actionable.
Right.
Just serving up a knowledge-based article, even if it's with a great natural language experience, it's still going to suck over.
Well, you don't want to ask the user to open up Task Manager,
exactly right,
or open up the registry, check this registry key, and we know all that information already. So the LLMs, when they ask that information, they'll get that from us.
So that, and then the ability, because you're in teams as well, to proactively make the employees aware of the problem is kind of the utopia. Wow, IT really did something proactively, and so I think you've got it really spot on. And I think in terms of our experience management offering and the XMO team that we have behind that, helping them not only drive the agenda in terms of continuous improvement, transformation of that experience, but being able to make sure that the entire operating model, whether you're a network team, the apps, the workplace engineers, they're using this data. Mm-hmm. There's an MI. Where do you go first? You go to SysTrack, you look at the data, you zoom in, and you use that as part of those core operational processes, many of which haven't changed in a lot of organizations for 10 years plus. Yeah. So I think it's an enabler for that new operating model as well, which is really going to be exciting. I think you said earlier on, the need to realize value quickly is kind of a paramount importance for our customers that expect great things, but also from our internal leadership as we transform that operating model. And we're beginning to see those in some of the accounts right now. So being able to reduce the number of incidents per device by between 20 and 40% is kind of a key metric for us. How often do things go wrong and get flagged? How often do we identify where there is a situation and a problem, but it isn't even flagged in the system? And we're counting those and measurably looking at how we can reduce that, because we know that's the next essential measure of quality. We're also beginning to look at MTTR again, which I think for the workplace guys and girls, it's not been a cool measure. It's more of an infrastructure. But when you look at that holistically, you say, right, how are we fixing those problems that impact employee productivity quicker? It becomes less around what's net and what's gross and what we could have fixed, but more about fixing that overall employee experience, getting them work and getting them productive again. And we've seen in a number of organizations the opportunity, 30+% reduction in that MTTR around that classical workplace engagement. So that's kind of the core of that operational transformation. When you then layer on the so what, is that if we don't have that feedback and that sentiment from the employee that's saying, yeah, my workplace it feels better, I'm more productive, I'm less frustrated with it. However we capture that, I think having those two accesses is going to be so important. And that's what our XMO team is doing. They're looking at those kind of core metrics that make a difference, but then correlating it with what we're hearing and the signals we're getting back from the employees. Because we can do all of those things, but if the employees don't validate that it is really making a difference, if the CIO quarterly survey isn't going the right direction, then we're missing a trick somewhere in that equation.
For when I see with customers, like they don't know where to start. Like they see the beautiful panacea of this beautifully opera, but there's a transformation that you need to go through from what you're doing today. And I think, we're going to start with the service desk, which you can inject value right away. And then getting to the point where you're like, hey, here's where the health scores are. Here are projects that we're going to use to improve that health score. And I think you guys have a really nice process for doing that in your solution. And I think that's what customers really need help, because they just don't know where to, how to get there.
And we're advising customers to move away from your classical SLAs and think about, well, I'll just have a couple of experience levels on the side. I think it's a fundamental rewrite, or running in parallel for an extended period of time and building confidence that actually the new measurements of service quality, service experience, proactivity, you probably only need 3 to 5 measures to really have a good pulse on how your workplace is, rather than the hundreds of classical SLAs that we've dealt with for many, many years.
Right. Well, I've been in several meetings where, CIOs like, customers have been complaining, but they answer the phone within 30 seconds, 99.99% of the time. Why aren't they happy? It's like, well, they don't actually.
The world's
good for you. You should do that. But that's, they care about being productive.
I'm really excited about what 2026 brings for us. As we move to that new delivery model where the service desk is more AI powered, at the front end, chat and voice, the ability to inject the data is going to be really, really important to us. We're taking commitments with customers on the level of proactivity we're going to drive, and that voice for employee outcome is part of the XLA framework that you've put in place. So taking your data, your release around AI now, it makes it so much more accessible for us. It's really, really important. I think next year it will be about proving the value of that integrated kind of set of technologies, and making sure that we bring those different technology islands together and continuously level set on is it making the right difference?
Yeah.
We could just spend hours integrating MTP and all these cool new things and consume huge amount of tokens, but is it driving the right outcome? And I think we've got the partnership and connections in place between the teams at all the right levels to be really successful. And I hope those 20 or so customers we've got, we can really, really make that next level transformation next year with them.
Yeah, I hope that, when we're meeting again in 2026 here at Ignite, probably again, that we'll be talking about successes, because right now it's, we're in hypothesis phase, right? We can't get these AI agents in there, right? We think they can reflect work. We think that they can handle things, help the service desk, help the users, help proactive. And I really believe they will. I mean, initial testing is really amazing, but I think that's kind of what we're looking forward to. And the partnership with you guys is just amazing. You guys have incredible staff. They understand the space so well. I kind of, grew up in outsourcing. So, I was mentioned, we're fighting global services for 18 years. I sort of kind of saw the your mess for less. Yeah, that's right. And then the your mess for less, even less, right, was the kind of the second phase. I think, when we bring these AI agents in there, maybe we can start to deliver on the true promise and almost turning it into software.
Exactly that.
And I think you guys are leading the way.
We got a recently, Ivan, our CEO, has rebranded the group to Capgemini, and we have a new tagline. It's "Make it real."
Make it real.
And it feels a perfect fit as we go into 2026 together. That hopefully we can make it real and drive more success.
Yeah.